Do you feel overwhelmed when you think about planning for the upcoming year? There is such a push at the end of the year to begin thinking about that next step, and that can be overwhelming. But today I'm going to share with you the first step of my process for planning with clarity and confidence for your upcoming year. You don't need to feel overwhelmed, frustration, or even worry about being unsure of those next steps in the new year. And in fact, in this coming year, I'll even help you take a step further and help you craft your mindful vision for your business. But first, let's keep it simple. I'm Dr. Maura, and this is the Coaching Hive podcast. Welcome back to a new episode of the Coaching Hive podcast. As I mentioned in the intro, for this episode, today is all about starting a 3-step process that we will continue through the end of this month. Planning is an essential part of building a thriving coaching business and has the added benefit of helping you to feel more comfortable each step of the way because you have a really clear path to walk. Who doesn't love a nice, clear path? This week, what we'll do is look at the big picture. And then over the next 2 weeks, we will steadily move toward a clear focus with more and more details. How does that sound? A little simplicity is a good thing. And when you think about your business, simplicity, clarity, and confidence truly create the trifecta for action and progress. Think about that for a minute. Simplicity, if it's easy or simple to understand and implement, you're more likely to do it. If your steps are clear, clarity, you're more likely to take action. And if you feel confidence that this plan and this path have been well thought out, well, you're more likely to take action as well. Hence, simplicity, clarity, and confidence truly are a beautiful trifecta for action and progress. Without further ado, grab a pen and paper. Even if you typically take notes on a tablet or other kind of device, if you're able to, I strongly encourage you to grab a piece of paper for this activity. The physical process of writing can often unlock ideas and paths that we otherwise might not uncover. And it can be so much easier to get to your truth and your desires for your business with that action of writing. You have to really stop and think and sink in rather than just zooming your hands over a keyboard. Now, if you think about a blank sheet of paper and that's not your thing, you realize that it's kind of overwhelming, hey, that's okay. Grab a small sticky note. I love sticky notes to do this. Or maybe a couple scraps of paper, anything that you have laying around. It doesn't have to be this big blank sheet of paper. You could open your notes app, but give the paper method a try first before you switch over to an electronic device. What we're focused on this week are the big picture goals for the year. This may not sound tricky, but what if I said to keep this list to 3, no more than 3? Chances are you will not start there, and that's okay. If you're using sticky notes, grab a pile of them, or a stack, I guess. If you have a sheet of paper, grab your pen. And what I'd like you to do is take 5 minutes, set a timer, and jot down one idea per sticky note of what you want to accomplish in 2022. If you're using a sheet of paper, just jot down your ideas in a list. Once that 5 minutes is up, if you find that your ideas are slowing down, you're not kind of rapid fire anymore, go ahead and stop. If you looked at that timer and seriously contemplated adding another 5 minutes or hitting that snooze on the timer, because your ideas are really flowing, go ahead and set another 5-minute timer. But I would encourage you not to add more than an additional 5 minutes one time. Here's why. Once you have your initial list of what you'd like to accomplish in 2022, I want you to take another look at the ideas that captured your attention. If you are like many, you listed more than 3 things. I know that when I do this, when I first start the process, A lot of times I have 10 or 15 things, and then I think, oh, this is going to be a big year. Can you imagine, though, implementing 10 to 15 major items next year? That sounds exhausting, and it walks the line for overwhelm. Definitely not the simplicity that we're after when crafting a path forward that is doable, feasible, and exciting. Which brings me to the next step. Go ahead and look at your list. See how these things can be lumped together. The idea here is to simplify the list that you have. It's likely that several of the items you identified are actually part of a bigger concept. It is that bigger concept that becomes one of your 2022 goals. Think of it like a pillar. The pillar will contain more detail, which we'll talk about in the coming weeks. But right now, we want that really big picture view. So when you look at your list, can you identify 3 main concepts or pillars that arise over and over in your list? Let me give you an example. And I'll keep this short because I really want you to have time to do these activities and sit with your lists. Let's take an example. Here we go. Perhaps you'd like to expand your network. I see this a lot of times on just about every entrepreneur's list of goals. Maybe you want to expand your network, but maybe on your list you have, well, I want to grow an email list. I want to meet more people online. I want to get to in-person networking events. And so that pillar there may have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things written on it, ways to, or a way to expand your network. But the pillar ultimately is expanding your network. And so those 5, 6, 7 things boil down to one pillar. Let me give you another example. I hear a lot of coaches saying, I'd love to offer a course or a workshop or a webinar for my clients or for the people that I'm trying to attract as clients. So let's say you'd like to add a course to your offerings to keep it simple. This might include ideas on your paper that say researching a course topic, identifying who I'd like to deliver my course to, making slides, writing scripts, filming. Maybe it's even figuring out how to film or what program to use, or, well, will my phone camera work? Will I need to use Zoom? Do I need to pay for something? But if you look at that list, it all comes back to the concept and pillar of adding a course. Or maybe it's a bigger concept or pillar. Looking at your list, maybe the pillar is expanding your revenue streams in 2022. Are you seeing the idea here? You want to look for the themes, and those main themes or pillars will become your 3 or fewer big ideas for 2022, for the upcoming year. When you have these in place, it becomes easier to make those quarterly and monthly action steps that we'll discuss in the next 2 episodes. Now, if you find that you want more guidance as you're trying to craft your vision for 2022 and for your business in general, I have a workshop for you. Keep your eyes and your ears open for more information. Or if you're not patient, I'm not, you are welcome to send me an email at maura@coachinghive.com, and I will send you the details for this brand new workshop that I'm releasing in the next few weeks. Now, let's do a little recap before we wrap up this really quick, really brief episode so that you can get to your planning. We started off today by exploring what you'd like your 2022 goals to be. And this comes on the heels of last week's episode where we discussed reflecting on your past year. What went well? What do you want more of? What do you want to leave behind? And in doing that reflection, we're in such a better place this week to think about what we'd like to accomplish. But this is kind of a complex question. A lot of times when you craft that list, it's really long, but it can be simplified by understanding that you often have pillars that can house several tasks or ideas. The key is to make sure that these ideas are aligned with your coaching vision as you understand it today. Let me ask you one more time. What do you want to accomplish in 2022? The top 3 goals. I know it's tempting to make the list longer, but think big picture. How are these 3 items, these 3 pillars going to help you get to your vision of your coaching business? Remember that these pillars or goals will need to align with your personal pillars or goals for the upcoming year so that they're not competing. They're not trying to stomp each other out. If you haven't had a chance to outline your personal goals or pillars for 2022, this is a great time to do this same exact activity, but focus it instead on yourself rather than your business. Who knows? Sometimes what happens when you do this activity is that you find a piece of alignment between your personal and your business goals that you never anticipated. Or you might discover that a business pillar needs a little bit more fine tuning so that it is in better alignment with your personal pillars. This is a fun process, and I hope that you will treat it as a fun process rather than an onerous task. This idea of thinking of your pillars for 2022 opens up so many doors. It opens up the possibilities for what you can make happen, what you can create, what you can do in the next year. I cannot wait to hear about the brainstorming process. I can't wait to hear what makes your list of your top 3 pillars. And until next time, I hope you have a healthy, safe, and happy week. I'll see you back here next week for another episode of the Coaching Hive Podcast.